everyone, it's Holly again. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you're new here, then definitely hit the subscribe and join this channel because you're very, very welcome here and I'm so glad to have you. In today's video, as you can see by the title, I'm going to be giving you from my own personal experience having anxiety, symptoms, signs, behaviours that you could either look out for in yourself or you might look out for in someone that you care for, someone that you love, family, friend. If you resonate with any of these things, then you may have anxiety, you may just be experiencing anxiety in the moment, or you may have an anxiety disorder, which is obviously 100% okay. There's nothing wrong with having anxiety and you can still live an extremely fulfilled, happy, free life. We just have to work with the anxiety, not against it. This video is kind of similar to the one I've done before, where I talked about the signs that you could look out for and how you can help someone who might have anxiety, or even just help yourself. But this is more to do with if you have been feeling certain things that don't feel right in you or are new and you're not sure what they mean. If any of these things that I mentioned resonate with you, then like I said, you might be developing a little bit of an anxiety disorder, or you might just be having anxiety in that moment. But it's good to be able to pinpoint what those feelings are and where they're coming from, so that then if it happens again, you can deal with them in a much more mindful way and not feel yourself suffering because of that. I just want to start this video off like I did with my last video by saying that I am in no means medically trained, psychologically trained. I am just a person who has anxiety and who really wants to help anyone who may be suffering. I'm here for you 100%, so definitely get involved in the comments as well. I'm happy to help. I'm happy to offer any advice I can, because even though we've made progress in the mental health sector, there is still a lot more to do on ridding the stigma around it and the judgment and the miscommunication and the misunderstanding that a lot of us find happens to us when we have a mental health disorder. So before I start as well, a lot of these things that I say you might have done once, you might have felt once. I don't want you to think that I'm trying to diagnose everyone who has maybe had this symptom once or twice with anxiety or an anxiety disorder. You know yourself best, but if these things are coming up in this video and you think, oh, I've actually been feeling that way, or I feel like I've actually done that quite a lot recently and it doesn't feel like me, that's where I'm here to kind of help you. Number one, excessively apologising. We are a nation of apologisers for some weird reason, but if you are excessively apologising in situations where you wouldn't normally do that, or people are actually quite surprised and taken aback by your apologies because there doesn't seem to feel like it's necessary in the moment, but you're just apologising to kind of ease how you're feeling, then that could definitely be a sign of anxiety. For example, I've been in a relationship for 2+ years now. There's nothing for me to feel worried about. Sometimes he helps me with thumbnails for videos, so thank you, Ryan. If I feel like I'm asking too much of him, I will begin to apologise in the nicest way possible. He will say, why are you apologising? There's no need to. But it almost is like a safety blanket, I guess, so that you're proving to this person that you're not a bad person. I feel like that's where my anxieties come from, is I'm constantly trying to prove to people that I am a nice person. If, for example, the thumbnail is got a bit wrong and we have to change something, I'll say, oh, I'm so sorry. Why am I saying sorry? There's nothing I can do about it. It's the computer. But I feel a necessity to make sure that the person knows that I'm sorry for that, because it's my fault. That's what my anxiety tells me. I know in the back of my head that situation there was no need to apologise, but my anxious head is telling me, you need to apologise for that and he's going to be angry with you. You're taking time out of his day and he wants to do what he wants to do. So this isn't a video of me telling you how to then combat that, but I can do that if you guys want me to. So definitely leave a comment down below or give this video a like if you want me to give you guys some tips and tricks and guidance as to how to combat these symptoms. But for now, this video is simply just what we can look out for in ourselves or even with someone that we're close to. Number two, catastrophizing. What a big word for something that is quite complicated and hard to describe, really. I'll put the definition of catastrophizing on the screen right now, but on a personal level and not in a dictionary level, I would say that catastrophizing is something that happens with my own anxiety a lot, and I feel like this is quite a clear sign of someone who is struggling with a mental health disorder or with anxiety or depression. It can come through depression as well. Let's give you an example. I've lost my keys. I know they're in the house somewhere, but I can't find them. So a normal person would be like, oh my God, that's so annoying. But they would still be able to get on with their day because maybe they don't need their keys right this second. They might not even need their keys till tomorrow. They're going to work tomorrow. But for me, a person with anxiety, I can't find my keys. I need to find my keys right now. This is the end of the world. Everything is falling apart because I do not know where this one item is and I need to find it. I need to find this item. Otherwise, I can't go on with my life. I can't go on with the day. I can't speak to anyone. I become emotional. I start crying. I can't breathe. I'm panicking because there's no order, which is another one we're getting to. But if you feel that you're getting intense emotions over things that maybe you wouldn't normally, maybe just take a look at how you've responded to something and think about what you're catastrophizing, because this video is not me telling you then how to combat these emotions, but if you feel like you wouldn't normally have done that, or if you afterwards and you found the keys think, wow, that was really intense for a while there and I couldn't actually get on with my day, that's definitely a sign that you might be suffering, struggling, or developing an anxiety disorder. So that's definitely one of the main ones that I would look out for, is if you're catastrophizing small things. And I say small not to belittle the catastrophizing, but just because they're mundane things that happen in life, and it's extremely exhausting to have to catastrophize these things and to feel exhausted with emotion once it's all over. On to the next one. Number 3, need for order and planning. This one is kind of a tricky one because some people are just generally really organised and love planning. But I think that for me, with my anxiety, an example would be if my bedroom is messy, that will subconsciously make me anxious. I might not notice it straight away, but then I will start to behave in an anxious way, not knowing why I feel anxious. Planners and organisers would just then clean that up. But for me, it becomes much bigger and bigger the longer I leave it, the more anxious I feel. If I don't have time to do it right away, then it carries through to my day. Yeah, that's definitely one that I would look out for. Another example could be that you feel out of control in places that have no order or planning. For me, I have quite bad travel anxiety with tubes and aeroplanes and things like that. Although they seem like they have order, I can't control the people in the situation because they're strangers. That can really lead to me feeling extremely out of control. And then obviously anxiety is all about control, but in different forms for everyone. Of course, no one's anxiety is the same as somebody else's, but I think that there's a base level of anxiety is about having control and losing control. So the fact that I can't control all of the people on the tube, I can't control all of the people on the bus, I can't make them move a certain way, I can't put them in a certain place, obviously. That's quite difficult, and that's what I mean by lack of order and planning, is if you're in a situation that you cannot control, that can definitely make you feel that anxiety. So the next one is irrationality, which is kind of similar to catastrophizing, but a little bit different. Irrationality is more so about why your situation is the way it is. For example, I've used this analogy before. If someone that you are friends with has not replied to your text message or has sent you a blunt reply, for me personally, I can then become extremely irrational about why they've not replied. I don't think, oh, they might be busy. I don't think they're probably at work. In my head, I begin to think extremely irrational things, such as maybe my phone was recording me by accident and I said something bad about them and they heard me and now they don't want to talk to me. Where did that come from? I never say anything bad about my friends, for one. My phone has never just automatically started recording my conversation, then sent it to the person that I'm worried about. But then once you start to think those things, it feels rational to you. Not to get preachy, but never let somebody tell you that you're being irrational in your anxiety. Make sure that you surround yourself with people that do not tell you that you're being irrational. So the next one is quite difficult to explain, but it's a sudden feeling of unease. This one is definitely something that everybody can feel, and this might just be a moment of anxiety. But if it's happening in situations where before maybe you've not felt that unease, or if it's happening frequently in the same situation or frequently in every situation, that might be a sign you're developing anxiety or you have an anxiety disorder. For example, a couple of weeks ago, me and my boyfriend were watching a horror movie, and it was a really good movie. It was really suspenseful, so getting the heart racing, which is already what happens with anxiety. But anyway, probably shouldn't have watched it. We turned the movie off, finished it, we were fine, and then all of a sudden I started having an anxiety attack. And yes, that could be to do with the fact that subconsciously the movie was triggering me. I suddenly became extremely uneasy, extremely uncomfortable. I felt I couldn't breathe. I felt really claustrophobic. As you can probably tell by the story, there was nothing that I should have felt anxious about. I was safe, I was with someone I love and trusted, but I still felt uneasy and I still felt anxious and I still felt like there was this foreboding feeling of something bad. If that is happening to you, then absolutely take the steps to try and reach out to someone, anyone, because that's definitely something that is not beneficial to you in your life. Some of these symptoms and things you can adapt to actually make you feel better. For example, being organised. They can become almost enjoyable, but something like this, a feeling of sudden uneasiness and panic, you shouldn't be feeling that. It's not okay. So definitely take those steps to get yourself in a better place, because that's very, very important. And the last one is people pleasing. This kind of goes along with the first one, which was excessive apologies. I find that myself and other people I know that do have anxiety, we are the biggest people pleasers in the whole world. It's a kind of innate worry of rejection, hatred, disappointment from people that you like, care about, or even just strangers. You do not ever want to seem like a bad person. This is my own personal anxiety. I'm kind of sharing a little bit more into how my brain works in this video. I have a massive anxiety based on past trauma about being a good person and being seen as a good person. If you're, this is hard to talk about, but if you're telling small lies to make yourself feel more connected to that person, I would say that that's a sign of anxiety too, because I've noticed that when I feel anxious in a situation, for example, you might be in a job interview and somebody might say that they enjoy something, so you say you enjoy that thing too, even though you might have never seen it, never heard of it, don't know what it is. You agree and go along with it and hope that they don't ask any questions, because you just want to be seen as a person that is relatable, is nice, is friendly, is nice to talk to. That one's really hard for me to admit, actually. It's hard to talk about that, because I don't want people to think that people with anxiety are massive liars. No, we're not. It's just, I guess, excessive agreement would be relation to people pleasing. You excessively just want to let that person feel like you're present, you're listening, you know, you're hearing them, you're enjoying the conversation. You don't want them to feel like you didn't give enough, so you begin to agree with things that maybe you don't really understand. So that's something that I'm definitely trying to work on, because I think that it makes me feel disappointed in myself afterwards, and I think, well, that wasn't really me, that's not who I am, and obviously I want to champion you all to be 100% yourselves, and I should be doing that too. So it's not an advice video, but try not to kind of melt into somebody else's personality because of your anxiety, and that's something that I'm really, really trying to work on as well. So I've talked your ears off, I'm really thirsty now. I really hope this video was helpful in any capacity. If it resonated with you in any way, I hope you feel heard and understood and like somebody's there for you. I'm here for everyone, like I said. Again, like I said, these are just things that I've personally experienced. I can only speak on my own personal experiences, and I want to share them to hopefully help people and to make people feel more included, surrounded by others that are going through the same thing. So if I haven't mentioned anything that you struggle with or your symptoms and you do have anxiety, I'm not trying to say that you don't have anxiety. I'm just saying these are the symptoms that I have and the symptoms that I have looked out for in myself. I just want to help anyone I can. I just want to help you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you got to the end of the video, hello! Definitely hit the subscribe. I'll be making all sorts of videos. I upload on Tuesdays and Fridays, and I do vlogs, makeup, clothing hauls, mental health. If that's your kind of thing, then definitely join me on this channel. I hope you're all practicing wellness, and I hope you're staying mindful, and I will see you in my next video.